The finals, though, will be a best of 5. So that's going to be a really great one. You guys need to make sure you stay up to date and tune in for that. You can use that command SMW to find out more information like the bracket, the schedule, access to the Discord, so you can find out when the rest of these matches are happening. These guys are off. Going into Yoshi's Island 2, not too much to talk about in this level. They just need to run and gun to the end. Louis showing off some swag, picking up those points in a 1-up. But we're about to test their true swag abilities, if they can pull off that 361 at the end of this level as opposed to a 360. It relies on a frame-perfect jump and a lot of bit of luck at the very end. We see Louis not going for the 361 setup. That's just fine. He filled the rest of the level with swag. deisui going up top for the 361 and not getting it. Now these guys are pretty tied up right now. Their timers are just desynced. They should be getting synced up shortly, and you'll realize that they're neck and neck right now. Now going through Yoshi's Island 3 here, this is a level that can be a little tricky for some runners, and even experienced runners it can wreak some havoc on. You need to utilize these wooden platforms, running along them as much as they can. It's going to give Mario the little extra juice he needs to pull off a 259 on the timer, as opposed to that dreaded 258. Looks like both of them managing their jumps very well, finishing with a 259. They'll be moving into Yoshi's Island 4, where hopefully we see a shell jump. There is a shell halfway through the level, and if Mario doesn't want to get his feet wet, he can take that shell and just yeet himself across the platform. It's a very intense trick. Louis getting the shell jump. He's going to finish this with a slightly better time than deisui. Absolutely awesome job on him, hitting that pipe with a 278 as opposed to deisui's 277. It is awesome to see that. Louis is already packing in the swag for y'all today. Alright, and going into Iggy's Castle, this is where these guys need to utilize some very narrow jumps and good cage mechanics to get out of this. You'll see him just narrowly avoid those Koopas jumping over the Podoboo. They need to make sure not to hang on to those cages too long, or they'll risk losing some time. Both of them looking pretty good with the 281 door. We should be looking for a 241 at the end of the Iggy fight on their in-level timer. You'll refer to that a lot. It's the yellow number up at the top by the blue item box. This little auto-scroll room is just a good little breather they got before the Iggy fight, and they pick up this fire for a quick kill. I'll talk a little bit more about that fire in a second as you watch it go down here. A few fireballs and a butt slide, and he's out of there. Taking a dip in the sketty sauce as Mario comes out clean. You can see that fire flower used a lot on these Koopa kids. They're really nice. For quite a few of them, all it takes is just 2 fireballs and 1 jump. You get out of there pretty quick. Both runners finishing neck and neck coming out of Yoshi's Island. They're going to be heading into Donut Plains, where they're going to pick up a cape that hopefully will last them for quite a while. Now there is a small meta to these levels in which you fly. When Mario's flying with that parachute animation, his speed oscillates from 5 values, 47 to 51, and that's subpixels per frame. You don't really know what speed you're on unless you can identify visual cues very precisely, which both of these runners should be practiced in doing. And Mario can manipulate that flight speed by tapping right on the D-pad while they're flying. You don't want to hold right because you'll fall out of the sky, so just a little tap. But there is, of course, no guarantee that they'll lock onto that faster speed. Both of those guys getting a 362 on that level shows us that they do know how to manage their cave speed well, and they're able to do it quickly and consistently. You'll see lots of in-level timers change depending on their flight speed if they don't manage it correctly. So going through this donut secret one, they're going to head up into a dry room, Get this Koopa real quick, take a shell, and get back in the water. It's going to help them move a little faster during the second portion. They're not going to hold on to it long, though, because there is a chance of losing the shell when you spin into fish. It's called getting frame ruled. They're going to switch it out for that P-switch, where you're going to go ahead and just go through those fish no matter what. They're going to use it on a few more fish that they want to slap through, getting to the end. A nice 252 on both guys' part. They're keeping it nice and tight heading into that ghost house. We shouldn't see too much of a standings change in the next few levels. They've each got themselves a little bit of a breather before Morton's Castle. This level kind of speaks for itself. These runners just need to get to the end of the room. And in room 2, the exit is right above them. Deisui having a little bit of a sloppy door there. Those little mistakes can add up, and we've seen people lose races because of those little mistakes adding up. Now this next level that they're going into, Donut Plains 3, it's a standard flyover level, but it's got a little trick at the beginning. We have seen Louis miss this once in this tournament, so it'll be interesting to see this early P-speed here, where you have to rely running on these moving platforms. There's a very small chance that you'll get P-speed if you don't jump in the precise location. Both of those guys showing it off cool. Deisui getting that nice extra hit on the Koopa. So they should just be free flying for the rest of this level. But don't forget, all these flyover levels, what I said earlier about flight speed and manipulating that oscillating value, come into play during every one of these flights. So every time that there's a level where these guys are neck and neck through a flight, they can pick up a little bit of extra time if they just play it better than the other player or get a little luckier than the other player. There'll be a few things where luck is involved. I'll definitely be pointing those out as we come across those in the run, because some of them are absolutely devastating if luck is not on your side. Fortunately, there's no luck in this level. This is a standard flyover. They have a safe takeoff from the beginning, and as long as they just kind of chill in the middle of the screen, they're going to make it to the end with no issues. Heading into Morton's Castle, though, we have seen a difference in the leads that these runners can have based on this castle. It's got a few tricks in it and a lot of good tech movement. So these guys really need to stay up on managing their flight. First thing they need to do is just get up and out. There's a secret pipe that's going to take them to a bonus room. They don't need to go all the way up, just turn right around. And this is the tricky part, Morton Fly. A vertical level with very small horizontal space for them to continue their flights. They really have to manage their cape well here. It's much harder than it looks. Both of them doing it perfectly. Deisui getting that little extra swag fly there. It's not going to save him time because they do have a choke point here where they have to get the same cycle. One little switch to the flower and a spring later, they're in Morton to deliver 2 quick fireballs and a jump. And that's the quickest Morton you've ever seen right there, am I right? Both runners pulling off an awesome Morton's Castle. No issues yet heading into Vanilla Dome. These guys are putting down awesome runs right now, just as expected. Hopefully they'll have no issues through the Vanilla Dome. Once they get past the Vanilla Dome, though, things are really going to heat up on these two. Now we've got a couple more cape challenges here in Vanilla Dome. This one being able to manage yourself through these bats, not getting hit, and these buzzy beetles. If you don't do that pound right there, they can mess up your day and take your cape. At the end, they need to utilize all their flight right here. This is a chance for Deisui to come up. Louis did not get the flight he wanted. He had to pick up flight elsewhere. That gave Deisui just the time he needed to take a little bit of a lead over Louis, going into Vanilla's Secret. Those little things can definitely add up, and that level has been an issue throughout this tournament consistently. Both of them using the shell strat to get through that choke point in Vanilla's Secret. Doing it beautifully. I mean, that level kind of speaks for itself. It's a lot like Morton's Castle, where it's vertical and there's not a lot of space for these guys to keep their cape going. But I mean, both of them getting out of there with insane times. Great job. They're going to be heading up top. They've got a couple more flyover levels before the fortress. So this is a great time to use that command SMW. Gonna give you all the information you need about this tournament that's been going on, like the bracket, the schedule, access to the Discord, so you can follow your favorite runners like Louie and deisui as they go through this and see what's coming up next. You can also use that command R that I will throw in chat, and that's going to give you the links to both of these runners. Go give both of them a follow. You'll see both of them killing it in Super Mario World almost daily on Twitch. Don't worry, they'll still be flying when you come back. So go give them a follow real quick. While Louie and deisui go check out some dolphins. We've got a nice scenic view here. No touching though. This isn't a petting zoo. These guys are going to stay up in the air the whole time. Alright, deisui first to enter that pipe. Still holding on to his lead from Vanilla Secret. He's going to be the first to enter the fortress. Hopefully Reznor will treat both of them pretty good. We don't want to see any mishaps in this fortress. This is the underwater fortress where these guys need to play it nice and tight against those ball and chains and the fish. Can be pretty precarious, especially near the end of both rooms. There tends to be a fish that we see lots of cape loss to. There is going to be a cool potential trick coming up shortly. deisui will be the first to attempt it if he keeps this small lead. At the end of this room there's a pipe, and when he comes out of it, he's going to swing his cape at a very precise time, and there will be a chance that a thwomp on the right side off screen will despawn. Unfortunately, you see a thwomp on deisui's screen and Louie's. There is a chance that they can despawn that thwomp that we call Thwomp Boss. It's a very low risk, low reward strat, but it's always really cool to see whenever they pull it off. Heading into the Reznor fight, they want to make sure to avoid these fireballs and not drop in that sketty sauce and come out clean with that cape. Both of them doing it fantastically. Reznor was definitely playing friendly today. And now that they're out of the fortress, they are heading on to everyone's favorite level. I want to see that chat blow up with some PogChamps for Butter Bridge 1. Absolutely a feat of engineering. This level will move to the right completely on its own as if it were magic. And all these guys need to do is just follow along. It is definitely one of the longest levels in this too, which is fortunate because could you get better than this? I mean, the platforms move up and down. The screen moves to the right. The Koopas move to the left. It's like it just... It touches everything, you know? It's just absolutely perfect in every way. Nothing could be changed about this level because it is so exciting. Now with the screen moving downwards, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities that has not been seen. Oh, where'd Mario go on deisui's screen? What's happening? Is this a murder mystery? Does he need saving? We need to call Luigi. Oh, there he is. There he is. Everyone calm down. It's fine. That added to the excitement a little much. My heart is racing right now. They are going for a pretty cool trick here that they can pull off here at the end called Pipe Fly. If they can continue keeping their flight up here, which they're going to do by managing it just through these Koopas, keep their flight going, enter the pipe, with that flight speed still going, they can pop out with the parachute at the very end. Louie not getting it, deisui getting it, but all that matters is they both went through Butter Bridge 1, so they're both winners in my book. But now they can cool down with a nice easy flyover level. We're in Butter Bridge 2. Now, this is the last level before Ludwig's Castle, and Ludwig's Castle is where I said the heat's really going to turn up on these two. So they might be acting cool as a cucumber during this flyover level, but they know what's coming up for the rest of this run, and this is where they're mentally preparing for what's about to go down. Deisui being the first to be entering Ludwig's Castle, he's going to be hitting that meat and potatoes first. There's going to be lots of cool cape tech in this room 1, and possibly some damaging effects in room 2, so we'll see what happens here. We're going to talk about some cape canceling now. After these ground pounds that he pulls off to get those enemies out of the way, you're going to see him jump through those ball and chains. He took no damage there whatsoever. That's once again getting through these. Good room 2 so far. He needs to fly just under these potoboos, not taking any damage. If he happens to get super fast speed, he'll run into those as well and get knocked straight in the sketty sauce. He'll be having a bad day. Switch the flower, and managing these cages correctly will lead them up to Ludwig. They've got to act fast, though. This is another one where 2 fireballs and a jump will get you out of there quick. No dealing with him turning into a shell. No dealing with him running back and forth, trying to play catch-up. You see Louis gaining a little bit of extra time there, managing those cages pretty well, coming out with a 246. Now that cape canceling that I mentioned earlier with Deisui, he ran straight into an enemy with his cape and took no damage. You guys saw him run straight through 2 ball and chains. That's what we call cape canceling. If Mario's moving down in a flying animation, guess what? You're not taking damage. You're going to go straight into iframes and start spinning. And so we're going to see that used a lot more coming up. And so I'll definitely be able to explain it a lot better when you see better examples of it. But there will be times where you think that they're going to take damage, and they absolutely don't. Alright, now moving into Forest of Illusion 1, we have an insane trick that these runners could pull off. If luck is in their favor, they need Yoshi, and they're going to be pulling off something that we call Yoshi Wings. Now what we're looking for, Deisui's getting the first attempt here. He's going to grab this shell in his mouth, and he's going under the level here for a second. So watch closely as I explain this. He's going to spit out the shell, grab it while it's moving, try to duplicate this block to the left side. Unfortunately, both runners duplicating the block upwards, netting themselves a pea balloon. Inside of that original block is also a pea balloon. The contents of that box is dependent on its horizontal value within the level. So if they were to dupe it to the left side, the contents would change to a pair of Yoshi Wings, which Yoshi could then get and get out of the level on average about 6 seconds quicker than if you were to finish it naturally. This is another big trick. This is something a lot of runs depend on. This is the Yoshi clip. You'll see them dismount Yoshi right near the ceiling. It will hit them perfectly into the clip. First try on both runners. Absolutely incredible. It's hard to overstate how great that is. Even if you do absolutely everything correctly and you are clipped into that wall, there's a 25% chance of getting booted out, and you got to try it again. So to get a first try on both runners when they're this close is absolutely phenomenal. This is the race we were looking for, and now we got a race going. Luck is out of the way. It comes down to skill. Both of them finishing absolutely clean, pretty much neck and neck. Woo! Man, that was absolutely incredible. After getting some first try clips, we can calm down with the flyover level. So to explain that Yoshi clip a little more clearly now that we got some time, when they dismount Yoshi right near the ceiling, it lines them up perfectly to clip into where those 2 edges meet for the corner. And it's going to put Yoshi pretty much in the wall, and they need to do a small dismount back onto Yoshi to get in. But it is frame rule based by mod 4, meaning every 4 frames you're not going to get in there. So it's dependent on when you decide to do it as well. And so it's something completely out of your control, and so if you miss a Yoshi clip, it is just bad luck all around. But now we're going to see some cool cape flying skills here. Both of them heading into Roy's castle. It's got some really scary flight here. You can see these runners stick up to the ceiling for a while until right before the enemies are up in their face, dive down and pull back up before the final one. Keep their flight through that small tunnel and in the spike room. Right through that narrow chamber. Great job on both their parts. They have one more small chamber to get through. Switch to a fire flower. And they are in the fight. This will be the last time we see the fire flower used, just like the Morton's fight. 2 fireballs and a jump. They'll be moving on to Chocolate Island. Fantastic Forest of Illusion from both runners. We are over 20 minutes in, and they are still within a second of each other. So, this next level coming up is typically a standard flyover level, but the pipe fly that I mentioned in Butter Bridge 1 that we saw deisui get, where you can exit a pipe and still maintain your parachute animation, that comes into play in this level, and it can make a difference of about a second. So you'll see them doing spin flies here as opposed to normal flying to get through the level. They're going to use that to do a great setup here where they're going to keep their P meter going, go right in that pipe, hopefully without scraping anything and losing it. It's going to allow them to continue parachuting at a speed value of 64 as opposed to a natural limit of 51. Now that's going to be just enough to net them about a second, even including pipe transitions. Now there was a safety cape at the end of this level either one of these runners could have gotten, and we've stereotypically seen a lot of runners go for, especially going into this ghost house. Neither one of these runners went for it. They're confident right now. This can be a pretty spooky ghost house because they need to stay above this fishing boo without taking any damage. But guess what? There's obstacles in the ceiling off screen for whatever reason, so they also need to stay low enough to avoid those. A quick cape cancel through him. Louis had a faster door grab, so that's going to net him a little bit on this. A cape cancel through the boos puts you in that spinning animation to bounce off of them on the other side, getting you out quick. Louis is going to bite 1 second in-game on deisui's 261. Alright, both of these fellas heading into Chocolate Island 2. Now this level actually has various rooms and exits depending on the amount of coins or time you spend in the room. None of that matters in this category. These guys just need to get to the end as quick as possible. So anything cool about this level is kind of washed out by that. Heading into room 3, they just need to grab this key, make their way into the keyhole. And they'll be heading on to Chocolate Secret. Still neck and neck this far in the run. Alright, heading into Chocolate Secret, they need to make sure these Chucks play friendly with them and they don't take a football to the face. Alright, good job on both guys' parts, not getting Charlie Browned. This room too, they just need to pick up a little bit of flight that'll help them get a little more speed through this room. It's just a hair bit of speed, but it's worth going for if you can, right? And this room 3 looks like just a simple flyover at first, and it technically is. But here where these Chucks come up, let's see if we can notice the audio change. See if you keep hearing his cape pumps. Do you hear those cutoffs there? Sometimes those cutoffs can happen before the sound even begins, so the sound doesn't play, making the runner think that they didn't get their cape pump off and they're not flying anymore. Because they're above the screen, they can't look at Mario to tell he's still in the air, and auditorially, they think that they're falling out of the sky now. So you have to be like Luke Skywalker and take the instruments off and just go by faith that you're doing it correctly and staying in the air. Those Chuck sounds can override the cape sounds, and it can play with your head. So this castle is where we see lots of cool cape techs diving into those buzzsaws. They're not going to take any damage. One last damage boost or cape cancel straight through that crusher. Once again, no damage on either runner's part. They've got one more cape cancel to do on this last crusher. Keeping that parachute. Louis will be the first into room 2. This is a silky smooth room if you got a cape. Hopefully it treats both of them good. And that room speaks for itself there. Getting into the windy fight, these guys have to come out with a power-up. They need a clean kill on this. Alright, Louis will be the first with his 3 hits. Deisui still right behind him. Both of these guys will be heading into sunken ghost ships where we could see some potential despawns that are pretty neat. So we have on our checklist of things that make runs go awry, checked off just about everything. But we still have Sandbar, we still have Fortress, and we still have a Bowser fight. One of those 3 things is potentially what this race is going to come down to. Louis just barely ahead going into sunken ghost ship with Deisui hot on his heels. Probably going to see both runners here go for their backup cape in this first box. It's a pretty free item get. They didn't pick one up several levels ago that was slightly slower, knowing that they would probably keep their cape to this moment. It was a good play on both of their parts. Now, let's talk some despawns. At the end of this room, there are 2 boo rings that rotate, and Mario has to go through them, and usually you have to wait for them, and it's very slow and obnoxious. But what if they weren't there? If they can manage their speed through this just fast enough and keep the clouds on, boom, 1 boo ring gone from Louis. Deisui has to go through it. Louis threading the needle for the second one. There is a potential damage boost he could do like you see Deisui doing, which is a standard route. Louis saying nah to all that and just doing the hook shot. Absolutely incredible. Deisui's going to lose a little bit of time on that. Louis is going to pick up a little more of a lead. Louis will be the first to grab the orb. Deisui still right behind him, losing a little bit of time on that level. They're both going to be heading into the Valley of Bowser now. This is the final world before the Bowser fight. So if Deisui wants to catch up, he's got to make it count now. If he's betting on Louis making a mistake, he's looking in the wrong place. So he's got to act fast. This level that Louis is in right now can be a little tricky because the Monty Mole's hitboxes can be pretty deceiving and they don't like to play nice with cape. We've seen several runners at crucial moments lose cape here. Louis going through it just fine, it seems. He's got one more to get through. And let's see what Louis does with this block at the goal tape here. He's got a 1-up parade. How sweet. Deisui picking up another backup cape. He needed one after taking the damage boost in Sunken Ghost Ship. Oh no, Louis having a little bit of an oopsie daisy there. It's going to give Deisui a little bit of... These guys are back to neck and neck. These guys are back to perfectly synced. And they are in the room for Sandbar. Will this be what this race comes down to? And by Sandbar, these runners can potentially clip into the bottom yellow portion of this moving platform. It will save them about 12 seconds. Deisui is through. Deisui is through the Sandbar clip. Louis left behind. That is going to net Deisui about 12 seconds. That is exactly what he was looking for in this Valley of Bowser. Absolutely stunning. Wow, absolutely incredible. Very rare that you see that happen, especially in a race as neck and neck as this. Deisui, with a healthy lead now, will be the first into the fortress. But if you think he's out of the woods, you're thinking wrong. He is now on the level where we have seen the most deaths, the most cape loss, the most tragedy. He needs to play this tight to his chest. Don't let these nerves get to him. He has to maintain his flight through all these crushers. And when these crushers hit you, they don't just take your cape. First they hit you, dropping your item from your item box, and then they kill you. So you're going back into the level small no matter what. Deisui having a good manage right now. He's just got a few more to get into the Reznor fight, and he is through. Oh, those Reznors were gunning for him, but Deisui's not taking it lying down. He fought hard, came out of that Reznor fight clean. He'll be the first to go into the Bowser fight. He just has one innocent little dark room to get through. One innocent little dark room. This is the final room before the Bowser fight, the dark room. You've got a couple of needles to thread, some Mecha Koopas who really want your cape, and some flights that if you don't pull off can put you in sketchy situations. Deisui pulling off some awesome flight right there. That's the type of dark room I love seeing. Louis right behind him. Looked like he narrowly avoided missing cape. He'll be joining Deisui in the Bowser fight. Deisui's going to be pulling off what we call cape kill here, and that's where he flies up and nails Bowser right as he throws those Mecha Koopas and his hitbox is available, getting the optimal kill on that. Now you did notice that he destroyed one of the Mecha Koopas. That's so Bowser throws two more right here, leaving him with a leftover one for phase 2. He's going to use that Mecha Koopa for a trick that we call ball skip. So that will be coming up shortly as long as he manages these fireballs without losing cape. Louis has gotten his second hit and moving on to phase 2 as well. Now for this ball skip, we're going to go ahead and hang out on the left side here and let that Mecha Koopa come back to life. The last moment, stomp on him, and as Bowser throws the first ball, fly up in the air and drop it as Bowser reaches the right side. That's going to keep Bowser from dropping his second of 2 cannonballs. And he's going to go ahead and go straight into the Mecha Koopa again. It's a pretty big time save when you consider the Bowser fight as a whole. And it's going to get him a quicker kill to move on to phase 3. He has only 2 more hits. He has another extra Mecha Koopa for another skip here. If he can hit Bowser right when his hitbox is available by throwing him up, very good job. It's going to make Bowser bounce only 5 times as opposed to 8, setting him up for a perfect 6th and final hit. Get your GGs out for Deisui, putting down a phenomenal run. Louis going for his hit 6 right now. Only seconds behind Deisui. 2 fantastic runs. Now we noticed that Deisui's was a 33.05 and Louis' was a 33.17 I noticed when Peach appeared. A difference of about 12 seconds. That sandbar clip gives you 12 seconds. These 2 runners put down 2 phenomenal races, top tier. Louis unfortunately not getting that sandbar clip that he needed that gave Deisui the win. That just goes to show the level of consistency of these 2 runners here. And that we've come to expect from these 2 runners, always putting on a great show. So, that win is going to Deisui there. We'll be getting set up for race 2. Don't go anywhere. This is a best of 3. So Deisui's going to be coming in hot, looking for that second win. Louis needs to win 2 in a row if he wants to go on to face Maiba in the grand finals of this No Star World Winter Tournament. Hopefully this second race stays as close as that first one. There's nothing better than watching tight races like that. Now this is a perfect time where if you guys liked those runs, you want to see more of those runs, you want to see what other categories these guys absolutely murder at, I'm going to throw some links in the chat for y'all. Y'all click on those, go give those guys a follow. You'll see them playing this game quite regularly, just absolutely destroying leaderboards in their wake. You guys can also use that command, SMW. And that's going to give you all the information you need to know about this tournament, including the bracket, the schedule, and access to the Discord. So you can keep up with us and see the next time that we're going to be putting on a show. After this, we still have a bronze match, where the loser from this matchup will go and face off against Silver Star. And the winner of this will go on to face Maiba. So we are down to just the final matches of this tournament. Alright, and we are getting this next race set up. That last race was an absolute coin toss, and I hope that this next one is going to be similar. And what better segue than to bring up the other command that we have, or if you're a viewer outside the US, you should use that command BETS and click on that promo link from vi.gg. You can bet on all the matches in the Super Mario World tournament that you see here and get that free €20 bet if you're eligible to sign up. So if that's something that interests you, definitely go check that out. Alright, so let's talk about those runs that we just saw and what we could see differently. The Forest of Illusion 1 wings, neither runner got, but we saw first try clips on both of them. There's very few mistakes that they really could have had. I mean, we're talking about a run that was 33.05. I mean, not even 20 seconds off the world record. It's really going to come down to consistency and a lot of luck here. These are two very evenly matched guys. I think that this matchup is absolutely incredible. I told you guys at the beginning of this is going to be one for the books, and I think I was proven very correctly by this first one. Now, Louis opening up the practice cart, which is something that you'll see lots of runners use. You don't see actually a lot of Japanese runners use it, so whenever you see people like Deisui and Maiba practice, they actually keep specific save files in various places so that they can have various setups to practice and all that. Lots of us over here use something called the practice cart, which is an awesome resource that basically you can go into various levels and have save states, load states, retry rooms, fast world. You see there's lots of extra roads on there. I mean, you have to have it. It's absolutely incredible. You guys should definitely check it out if you're interested in speedrunning this game. That's an awesome tool to use to just kind of get the feel of it. And just as I thought we were going to see him go into Valley of Bowser 2 for some practice, we saw a hiccup here in room 1 with this flight dropping down right there in the first chamber. but also the sandbar clip, which I'm sure we're going to see him practice. You have about a frame to two to pull this off. So go with Louis practicing it here. We can be able to explain it quicker. I saw him do a save state right there real quick, so he'll be able to practice it a lot. Right as it's coming to crush you, you want to duck and do a spin jump at a precise moment. Too early, you're dead. Too late, you're going to slide out. You're going to be fine. Do it just right, though, and you clip into that yellow block, netting you 12 seconds. It is a great setup, though, because you can slide out of it and survive if you don't get it. We have seen lots of runners do the setup where it means death if you don't get it, and that one's awful to see. Because if you die at that moment, I mean, it's an awful, awful point. We saw an almost death there that he just got away from. You can be pinched in between that ceiling and floor, and if that happens, absolutely devastating. So these guys are getting some practice out, which is probably a smart move when you're talking about a match as big as this. So I definitely don't mind at all. It gives us some time to talk about these levels a little slower. deisui going through that vanilla secret that I really want to talk about during the run, but like neither one of those guys had a single issue with it. That usually can be a level of contention, but both of them just pulling it off expertly. And the runners could potentially, I mean, they could watch each other on Twitch or the restream, and that's totally fine. There's nothing against knowing where the other runner is. They both know the route. And it could help them if they know they have a massive lead. They might want to play it a little safe. You know, not go for things like sandbar clip if they're over, 20 seconds or so from their competitor. But even 20 seconds is kind of pushing it because we are talking about a level where a fortress is next. Both of them pulled that fortress off perfectly, though. Seems they're both pretty confident in it because you see lots of runners going for practice on that, while neither one of these did. deisui is the current record holder from 11 days ago. You know what? We need to go through this history again. I feel there's a lot of people who are coming in here and maybe don't understand the gravity of the race that's going on right now. After the last race, coming down to a specific clip that Louis is practicing, 30 minutes into the run, these guys stayed neck and neck. This matchup is, in my mind, historical for this tournament, because when this tournament started, deisui had the world record in this category. He had a 32:51 that he got in early September of last year. After the tournament started, Louis did as Louis is known to do and decided he wanted that world record. And he came in and took that with a 32:50, beating deisui's time by just 1 second. Then, about 11 days ago, deisui comes back, netting the world's first sub 32:50, getting a 32:47, shaving off 3 whole seconds, getting his world record back. And now today, both of these guys are going off head-to-head to see who gets into the grand finals to go against Maiba, who is currently number 4. The loser of this matchup will go in the bronze match for 3rd place against Silver Star, who is currently number 3rd. So out of the top 4 runners in this tournament, they all are the top 4 on the leaderboards. This could not have worked out any better. And if they put on even half the race that they did last race, you guys are in for a real treat on race 2. deisui took the win for race 1 by 12 seconds, which is exactly the lead that this clip that Louis is practicing now gives you. If it weren't for that clip, we would be retiming by the frame. So deisui wants to pick up that second win. Louis has to win 2 in a row in order to send deisui home. Alright, we see Deisui going in for his practice on the clip too. Seems both of these runners expect this race to come down to the sandbar again. This is the attitude I like to see. Neither one of these runners playing it safe at all during this race. During this whole tournament, really. They have just been laying down fat runs back to back to back. It looks like we are readying up for race 2. You guys get super hyped. Throw out some good luck for these runners in the chat. Every matchup we have left in this tournament is absolute top tier. And these guys are about to prove it to y'all right here. This No Star World Winter Tournament. Once again, the rules are simple. These guys are going to beat this game without using any of the Star Road warps that you see on the overworld. Their last runs were a 33.05 from Deisui and a 33.17 from Louis. So those are hopefully about the times we should be expecting. Anything under the 34-minute mark is really top tier. But when Louis got the world record, he did it in a race in this tournament. So there's something to be said about that. It could happen again at any moment. So these guys are off. Both of them taking pretty much the exact same route that they did last time, not really changing it up. Which is to be expected in this level. They definitely have a route that they abide by. Every runner has their own system that they work on. So we're looking for a 360 at the end of this level, unless these guys want to swag out and give us a 361. Deisui going for it. Looked a bit early of a jump to get it. So they're both going to be getting a 360. Move on to Yoshi's Island 3. Alright, now this is a level that anyone from beginners to experts absolutely hate, because every now and then it just goes wrong. And when it does, it all goes wrong. But in order to get that optimal 259, they need to make sure to manage their jumps and running correctly, utilizing those wooden platforms that move right with Mario. Gonna give him a little push, and should save an in-game second. When I refer to the in-level timer, it's the yellow timer up by the item box at the top of the screen. You'll hear me refer to it quite frequently during this race. Now, this is a level where we see a potential shell jump. Louis got it last time, Deisui did not, so let's watch again. Deisui not going for it, Louis getting it 2 out of 2 times. Absolutely incredible. That's going to net him an early lead yet again. A very small, but hey, very real lead, alright? He's finishing with that 276 as opposed to the 275 on Deisui's side. Now here in Iggy's castle, these guys need to manage their jumps quite well as some cage work, making sure not to hang on for too long, narrowly avoiding that Podoboo, trying to take their life. Ooh, Louis having kind of a sloppy door there, getting a 279 on it with Deisui's 280. Doors can be awful in this game. When you're running at full P speed, you have 3 frames to get into that door. 3 frames. So running into doors and getting them is not the easiest thing in the world. When you have as many doors as you do in Super Mario World, statistically you're gonna miss a few. So Deisui not getting that shell jump, but making back up that time in Iggy's castle. These guys are going to be back to neck and neck going into Donut Plains. Alright, now moving on into Donut Plains. First thing they're gonna do, get rid of that fire flower, because that does nothing to make you faster in most levels. So they're gonna pick up a cape. I'll make sure to explain it again, just because it's the first time we're gonna see the cape in this run. When Mario's flying through the air, like you see both of our runners doing, Mario's speed is gonna lock into one of 5 values, from 47 to 51. And it's gonna stay there for as long as they're just tapping left and flying. Now, if they want to oscillate that speed, they could tap right just briefly, and it will set them to a new value on every frame that they're holding right. There's no guarantee it will be a faster one. It moves in a certain pattern that it oscillates. And so you have to be able to manage your visual cues right and look at the jittering of the screen to notice what flight speed you're on. Both of them having a really great level on that flyover, showing once again that they know how that flight speed works and they're really good at using it. Oh no, deisui throwing that shell up, having a weird drive room. It's going to let Louie come out first. You're going to switch that P-switch because there is no chance of losing that P-switch while running into a fish. The shell's kind of iffy at points. So it's good to do a nice little weapons upgrade, grab that P-switch and get on out of there. You see deisui getting out of there with 2 in-game seconds less than Louie. Neither runners having as much of a concrete run as they did last time. Hopefully things kind of iron themselves out over these next 3 levels, which are pretty calm. So this one's pretty easy as long as you can get the doors. As I say that, deisui missing the first door. You just gotta fly to the end and fly up, and this level's done. Now, this level coming up on is just a flyover level, but there is a tricky part at the front where they need to pick up P-speed early. Instead of running back and getting it that way, they want to rely on these moving platforms. It can be pretty sketchy getting that P-speed. Both of them getting it though, and so they're fine. They're just going to fly through the rest of this level and move on to DP4 for some more flying action. Now once again, all these flyover levels are ones where speed oscillation can matter and make small differences. And over the course of about 33-34 minutes, those small differences can add up. Louie has a slight lead over deisui right now, moving into Donut Plains 4. There should not be any standings change in this level, unless something goes horribly wrong. But after this, we have Morton's Castle, and that's where things could get a little hairy for either one of these runners. Alright, and finished up with Donut Plains 4, they head into Morton's Castle. This is one that can be a little tough because they have to manage their flight correctly. Once they head through this secret pipe, they're going to jump on out and go for their Morton fly attempt. This is a vertical level that has a lot of choke points. They can miss cycles very easily, and you can also not pick up the flight you need very easily. But once again, both runners having a great Morton fly so far. They just need to switch to Flower and get their way up there. Now switching to Flower on a lot of these Koopa Kids is easy because you just 2 fireballs and a jump. And boom, he is done. If they didn't have that Fire Flower, they'd have to rely on the natural 3 jumps that you see most people do. It's much slower. Alright, these guys are still staying pretty tied coming out of Morton's Castle. Thought maybe we might see some sort of difference in the lead there or the standings whatsoever, but they're pretty much still in the same spot that they came in with. We could see this change in Vanilla Dome 1, where last race we saw Louis not get the immediate flight that he needed to get up to the key exit. He's going to be looking for that this time. We saw him practice after race 1. Let's see if that practice paid off, because he will be the first to go in for this attempt. After threading that needle, he's going to do a ground pound to get that Buzzy Beetle out of the way. Now here's where he needs to utilize all of his cape, right here. Very nice. Every inch of that height used to get up to that platform. He got the height he needed. He's going to maintain his lead out of VD1 going into Vanilla Secret. Another vertical level that can really punish you if you can't manage your cape flights well. Both runners once again taking the shell for a little extra protection. Louis throwing it early. Didn't feel he needed it. deisui holding on to it and using it. Both of them hitting the pipe at the exact same moment. And a 15 from deisui. Just so you guys know that we weren't watching the same game feed there, deisui had to show off a little bonus star there for you. And now we've got a couple of flyover levels to get through. These guys had no issues with these last race, nor have they for the past forever, I'm sure. The goal of these levels is simple, just get Mario to the end. So, while they were absolutely synced coming out of Vanilla Secret 1, Louis has a little bit of an edge coming out of this level with a 263 on his in-game timer as opposed to a 262. Now, if you recall what I brought up earlier with the flight speeds and managing your cape correctly, making sure you oscillate to that 51 speed and not getting stuck on like a 50 or 49 and just accepting it, that's what happens. A small lead, but it broke the sync, and it's real enough for you guys to notice now on screen. In just one level. We have several flyover levels. Alright, these guys neck and neck heading into the fortress. There is a trick that we call Thwomp Boss at the beginning of Room 2. We didn't see either runner get it last run. Very low risk, low reward. It could pull off a potential despawn on a Thwomp. It looked like Louis took a weird route around one of those ball and chains there. It seemed to have cost him a bit of time. Definitely not the direction I'm used to seeing him go. So once deisui looks like he's going to be the first to enter the pipe now, and when you see him exit, oh my god, synced again. They spin their cape, Louis has a despawn, deisui has to go around the Thwomp. That's the despawn right there that Louis got. Very minimal time save. But by god, it's cool, right? So they just need a clean Reznor fight. Oof. And after a super exciting fortress with a Thwomp despawn, some clean Reznor kills, and identical Mario poses to finish it off. These runners are going to crank up that excitement by going into the best level you have ever seen in your life. Butter Bridge 1. Probably one of the most rapidly growing fan bases of all time. Absolutely beautiful, flying through this picturesque landscape. The Planet Kosher right now, not harming any Koopas. Mario's staying above the ground. Don't walk on the grass. Please don't walk on the grass, Louis. deisui staying up in the air, hoping he can keep his cape pumps going, not get hit by a Koopa or accidentally fall beneath the level. If you happen to die on this level and you get your bridge buttered, you've got a long walk back to victory, I'll tell you that. I've seen a few runners in this tournament die to Butter Bridge 1, trying to play it fancy, and there's nothing but shame left for you if that happens. Alright, finally on some solid ground. You can be heading up, hopefully finishing this level soon. Not too soon. You know, the longer we get to look at Butterbridge 1, the longer we get to appreciate these little things in life. This is like a digital Grand Canyon, if you ask me. The 8th wonder of the world. Now they're going for that pipe fly. Once again, a little trick you can pull off here at the end of the level if you manage your flight correctly. Louis did not get it last race, and it seems like he's not going to get it this time either. He hasn't managed his, he hadn't kept his flight. Deisui's going to get that little extra parachute off. And with that, we say goodbye to Butterbridge 1. Hopefully we see you again for a third race, old friend. So these guys can calm their excitement from Butterbridge 1 with a little flyover level. This is a nice little palate cleanser before they head into Ludwig's castle. Which, as we saw last time, is when things really start going off the rails. So I'm stoked for both of these runners to hit that castle. Alright, Louis still hot on the heels of Deisui as they go into Ludwig's castle. And if you didn't catch the first race, this is the first of many cape cancels really you're going to see. And not really first, but first really good examples you're going to see of cape canceling. After these couple of ground pounds to get these enemies out of the way, you're going to see Deisui and Louis jump straight into these ball chains, taking 0 damage whatsoever as they go into room 2. If Mario is moving downwards in a parachuting style, he's not going to take damage. And these guys are going to use that to their advantage throughout this entire run. It leads to some really cool strats that you're going to see. So an awesome room 2 from both guys, flying under the Podoboos, not taking any damage from them. It's real easy to hit those guys and get dropped in the sketty sauce. So now that they're in Ludwig's castle, just a couple of fireballs and 1 jump is all you need. Magic ingredients to get him out of there. Move your butt on down to Forest of Illusion. Alright, both runners still neck and neck over 15 minutes into the run. Putting on an insane show for y'all once again. But this could all change here in Forest of Illusion. We have a lot of tricks coming up. First of which, going into Forest of Illusion 1, would be a Yoshi Wing. And that is an awesome glitch that hopefully we get to show off. Neither runner got it last run. We saw both attempts, and so hopefully this goes smoother for both. Once again, you're going to see them get a Yoshi and go further on down the level to grab themselves a green Koopa shell. And that's when you know it's time to see some cool stuff. So it looks like Deisui still slightly ahead. We'll see if anything changes with these Yoshi Wings here. Once again, they need to get under the level, down to where the P-Balloon is, grab the shell while it's moving, try to dupe the block to the left. Neither one of them getting it. They're moving on. They're not going for a second attempt. I think they both know the other runner would just move on, and so it's smarter if they just do. No real standings change. Deisui picking up a little bit more of a lead with that 253 as opposed to a 251 from Louis. But we have Yoshi Clip coming up. And as I explained last time, even if these guys do everything right, there's still a 25% chance that the game will kick them out of this clip. So these guys are hoping that luck is on their side here. Deisui will be going for the first attempt, and you see him dismount right near the ceiling. That lines up Yoshi perfectly to clip in. Louis getting it first try, Deisui getting kicked out on the second, not having a good dismount on the first. This is exactly what Louis was looking for to take that lead. A late dismount on Deisui's part there. Now Yoshi's sub-pixel value, which this glitch is technically based on, is at a random value. He didn't know what he was going in for. He didn't know if he was ever going to get that attempt again. But Yoshi let him through after playing with his heart. Pulling at our heartstrings, letting Louis take a big lead over Deisui now. After Yoshi Clip, the great regulator, has had its say in the matter. So So Louis gonna finish with a 239. And deisui pretty far behind now, finishing with that 213. That is a difference of 26 in-game seconds that Yoshi clip just costed him. Potentially at no fault of his own. So Louis got a little bit of a flyover level to take a breather, hopefully realize he's in the lead. We'll see if this changes his playstyle at all in the upcoming levels. But for now, Louis will have a very healthy lead going into Roy's castle. He just needs to manage his flight here quite nicely, and he'll be alright. Now once again, pay attention to Louis here, as this flight's awesome to watch. He's going to dive down right before the enemies hit him, pull back up before the last one, and keep his flight going into the next chamber. After a quick landing in the hallway, he needs to take off because he's got one more room to get through. Quick little switch over to the fire flower, and this will be the last time you see the flower, as 2 shots and a jump get popped into Roy. Ooh, deisui struggling on that last chamber. He went for an odd cape cancel there. Definitely didn't work out. Not the way he normally does it. Must have been an infamous error or something like that. He's going to finish that Roy a little slower, giving Louis a little bit more of a lead as he heads into Chocolate Island. Yeah, after that Yoshi clip and that Roy right there, if deisui wants to take this win, he needs fate on his side. Because he is more than a sandbar clips away, and that was the only thing that mattered last race. Louis the first one going for this pipe fly here. You see he's got his parachute coming out of that pipe. Normally shouldn't happen, but if you keep your flight meter up a certain value as you go into that pipe, you can continue flying as you come out, giving yourself a speed of 64 sub-pixels per frame, as opposed to a natural limit of 51. deisui also getting it. He's coming in hot right behind him. Louis enters this ghost house. Louis had a really good ghost house last run, so this will be a good example of this. There are obstacles in the ceiling that he needs to stay underneath, and that's why you see his belly sticking out every now and then. But there's a fishing booth that's going to stay on top of him as well, so he needs to stay just in that small area between the 2 obstacles. A quick cape cancel, and a nice suicide door on Louis' part. That is so sketchy to go for in a race. Nice cape cancel through the last booze there, and that's going to put him up to the door to get out of there with a 262. That's some textbook ghost house right there. deisui coming in behind. He doesn't go for that quick door in races, I've noticed. So he needs that cape cancel to bounce off that boo and come on up. So Chocolate Island 2, not much to say for this one. These guys just need to get to the end as quickly as possible. deisui still staying at least within the level as Louis. He's not as far behind as you would think. There's still a lot of run left to happen. Louis is out of Chocolate Island 2. He's going to be heading down to the secret. This is another one that can be a little fishy sometimes. This room 1, you rely on these chucks to play nice. You don't want to take a football to the face. It's going to ruin your whole season. Beautiful room 1 on Louis' part. He's got to make his way down this hallway of Buzzy Beetles, and it is a long, steep hallway. And he'll be moving on to the final room. Oh no! Oh no, not landing on the ground when he should have. Taken a Fuzzy Beetle to the face. He does not have a cape going into room 3. Who wants to see some no cape strats? He's going to do some cool bounces off those guys and continue on no cape. This is the moments in races where we get to see how these runners think on their feet. What's their backup? What's their next move? What's the play? Narrowly avoiding those chucks. Louis moving through like an absolute pro. Giving me quite a scare there on that second to last platform, but he makes it through quite alright. At least in no cape fashion. Deisui, lead getting stronger by the minute. Now, unfortunately, we got a castle coming up next, and there's no cape waiting for Louis in there. Deisui has a cape going into Wendy's castle. Let's see how this changes things. Jumping over those salsa spin jumps, taking a damage through the Potaboost so he can get past that crusher. He did have a little hiccup there, so he has to wait a cycle for this, but he's into room 2. Deisui's moving in hot. He's still got his horsepower engine coming in. Louis making his way through room 2. He's not going to be able to fly. He doesn't have a flower. He doesn't have a cape. That means he needs to keep this mushroom for the next level. If he goes into the next level small, it will be absolutely devastating. Deisui missing the flight on room 2. That's going to afford Louis a little extra time here. A little extra time. Louis out of the Wendy fight. He is the first out of the fight. He can pick up a cape at the beginning of next stage. Deisui closed that gap hard, but unfortunately not enough to take that lead back from Louis. Louis' no-cape skills were not going to allow that apparently. He's still going to hold on to a small lead going into Sunken Ghost Ship. This does mean that he can't afford a damage cancel on Boo Ring 2, so I'm interested to see how Louis is going to handle that. He went to thread the needle on the second Boo Ring of next level because he knew in his mind if he got hit, he had another cape in his item box. He's not afforded that luxury this time. So is he going to go for the double despawn? Is he going to wait outside the second Boo Ring and let Deisui catch up even more? Or is he going to throw caution to the wind and try to thread that needle again? Now once again, now that I've brought up the despawns, to explain it a little more, here in this room 2 that we see Louis going through, there are 2 Boo Rings that spin around at the end of the level. If they can manage their speed through this correctly, they can despawn one or both of the Boo Rings. We saw 1 despawn from Louis last time, no despawns from Deisui last time. Louis going for the double, and he got it. Louis has the double despawn, his cape is safe for now. Awesome move on Louis' part. That's how you show off problem solving right there. Deisui knows he has to go for it too. Getting the double despawn as well. Huge hype right now. Both of these guys are going to be keeping their current standings as they go into Valley of Bowser. We have 2 double despawns in the Sunken Ghost Ship. Both of our runners have a cape as Louis grabs the orb for race 2 here at the No Star World Winter Tournament. Deisui right behind him, grabbing his orb. He's going to be following Louis into the Valley of Bowser. Now it seems he's about 14 seconds behind Louis. Sandbar can save about 12. If other things can go right in this world, Deisui is hoping for this to go right. Louis making his way through Vob 1. Doing pretty well through these Monty Moles. Once again, they can be real sketchy. Their hitbox does not like to play nice with capes. But Louis can pick up a little backup cape here. Grabbing that block and bringing it across the goal. And we got a cape parade going on Louis' side. Everybody follow along. Picking up that cape for a little extra something something. Deisui getting a cool little pipe fly off at the end of Ob 1. You don't see that too often. Now this is where Louis had some issues going into Valley of Bowser 2. He got past his point of contention from last race, continuing his flight through Room 1. He's going into the sandbar room. Is he going to go for it? That's the question. He knows Deisui's going for it, so if he wants to protect his lead, Louis needs to make the right choice here and go for it as well. Sliding out of it, Louis not getting the sandbar. Deisui's right behind him going for his attempt here. Now watch closely on Deisui's screen. As these floor close in, he's going to make the jump, clip through the floor, getting the sandbar again 2 out of 2 times. These two are synced up again. Oh my goodness, neck and neck. Deisui getting that sandbar clip twice out of 2 races, and it has given him everything this race can afford to give him both times. Absolutely synced up. Beautiful Valley of Bowser 2 from Deisui. Louis either not getting or not attempting that second clip. Either way, it puts Deisui in a very formidable position right now. We are in the most disgustingly evil fortress in the game. There's a lot of danger to be had here, and so these guys need to make sure to not let these nerves go for them. Keep their cape through this. Managing their flight is really hard. Those small platforms don't give you a lot of space to do it, and those crushers really don't give you a lot of confidence while doing it. Both runners almost out. Deisui just one more. Louis first into the Reznor fight. Deisui losing cape in the Reznor fight. He got aimbotted by one of those Reznor. Louis will be the first out with a small but very real lead. This is coming down to the Bowser fight, y'all. This is coming down to the Bowser fight. Alright, they've got to manage this dark room to get through. Louis losing cape at the last moment on the last Mecha Koopa. He doesn't have a backup. Oh, he did have a backup. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank goodness. He did grab that block in Bob 1. Oh, thank goodness. But Deisui still has the lead. Terrifying moment for Louis. Thankfully, my lack of memory, it was not correct. But what this means is Deisui is only slightly ahead of Louis, and this could come down to insta-hits with Bowser. Are you going to hit the Mecha Koopa the second that hitbox is available, or are you going to wait for that whole arc for him to throw out? It's a very slight difference, but you can miss it by just a little bit. So Deisui is setting up for his ball skip right now. He needs this to happen if he wants to secure that win. By taking this Mecha Koopa, he has saved all the way to the right side of the screen, flying up in the air, dropping it at a precise moment. Bowser will now only drop that first ball as opposed to 2, setting Deisui up for a good 4th hit without dealing with a second bowling ball. He's going to get that and move on to the 3rd and final phase. Alright, Deisui just needs to get this 5th hit right now. Getting that quick insta hit's going to give him 5 bounces as opposed to 8. That's going to give Deisui his 6th and final hit. Huge GG's out for Deisui getting that hit. Phenomenal run, phenomenal risk management on his part there. a 29 on Deisui's side, a 33 from Louis. This came down to a 4-second difference. And guys, as big as your GGs are for Deisui, I want to see him twice as big out there for Louis right now. He threw down 2 amazing runs. But what can you do against 2 back-to-back sandbar clips like that? Absolutely showing the level of consistency that he's known for. These guys have put on a fantastic show and definitely delivered the performance that I promised y'all right there. So huge shout out to both runners. Deisui, winner of this round for the semifinals, will be going on to the grand finals to face off against Maiba. This is both of our Japanese runners entered into the tournament, and they have made it all the way to the finals. And it's only fitting because when this tournament started, Deisui held the world record, and Maiba was right behind him at number 2. And those two are going to meet again to face off to see who will be the champion for this No Star World Tournament. Make sure you guys stay up to date with that. Use the command SMW. That's going to give you all the information you need to stay up to date on that. We also have a bronze match that will be coming up in this tournament where Louis will face off against Silver Star. Another insane matchup that I definitely cannot wait to see. So you guys make sure to go follow those runners, click on the schedule, get into the Discord, come chat with us. And I think that's going to do it for us here at twitch.tv/speedgaming for the No Star World Winter Tournament. My name is W. Carrick, and I hope you guys have all had a fantastic morning. I will see y'all next time.